Hey, party people, and Happy New Year! This is your friendly neighborhood fashion design and illustration professor, Zoe Hong. And in this video, I am taking a super old sketch from 1996, over 20 years ago, and I am redrawing it at your request. So the other day on Instagram, I posted a photo of this 1996 sketch of the girl in blue, and I put it right next to an illustration I did in mid-2017. And I was like, hey, y'all, this is how much you can improve with steady practice. Literally practicing what I preach, right? Because I am always harping on you guys about practice, not magic. Always be practicing. If your first one sucks, you're right on track. All my crazy hashtags, right? So I posted that on Instagram, and y'all were like, please redraw the girl in blue and let's really do a side-by-side on how your skills have changed and how your style has developed over time. And so many of you have posted that. I'm like, all right, that actually sounds like a really awesome New Year's video. So here I am. And a couple things, okay? I'm trying to follow the sketch as closely as possible, you know, coloring, hairstyle, the dress design. I changed the pose a little bit just so she looks a little bit more relaxed and sexy and whatnot, but still a full frontal view. I'm doing this sketch with gouache, not color pencil. The original is in color pencil, but dude, like, I don't use color pencil as the main medium. I really don't, because it's a slow medium. And because all of my illustrative style comes from my needs as a designer, I don't use anything that slow. So I did use gouache. If I were to do the whole thing in color pencil, like, it just wouldn't be my style at all. But the rest of it, I try to keep to the original sketch. Now, usually I use a fashion figure template and I use a light box to use the template to speed things along. But I know that's not what I did back in high school. I freehanded the whole thing. And so to be a fair comparison, I, again, freehanded this sketch. And I am using Arches 140-pound hot press watercolor paper, hot press being the one that has a lot less texture. And I'm using a Pilot 0.3 pencil with 2H lead so that my initial sketch is very light. The lines are very, very skinny. You could barely see them. And so that I wouldn't have to erase so much on the nice painting paper. And honestly, I don't even know what colors I'm using right now as far as the official paint colors, because I painted this whole thing with just crusty leftover bits that are sitting on my palette. I do this a lot. If I'm not trying to, if I'm not working on a big project where I have to do exact color matching or a specific style match or anything, I just use whatever crusty leftovers are sitting around. And I typically mix up big batches of skin tone and just let it sit around. And I have a whole video on mixing skin tones in my faces playlist. It's a lot of burnt sienna, burnt umber, alizarin crimson, and some yellow ochre to kind of tone down the orange of the burnt sienna. Okay, so a lot of that. And a lot of burnt umber and black used for the hair. And this brush I'm using right now is the best. When I was in Denver, I bought this brush. It's an Escoda Kolinsky Sable. Just beautiful watercolor brush. It's a round size 10. If you follow me on social media, if you were following me along on my brushes journey, that is the $57 brush. And it is like a next level of wonderful brush. I love it. It is worth every penny. So I've been using it A lot. The skinny ones are just my standard Princeton size 4 round that I've been using for a bajillion years. They're also great. And again, as I said, I'm using the 0.3 size Pilot mechanical pencil and my standard erasers, the Pentel Click, the stick eraser, the really nice eraser quality, and the Tombow Mono, which doesn't have great erasing quality, but it's so skinny, it really gets in those corners. And yeah, I had so much fun with this. You know, I didn't have a great 2017. A lot of us didn't have a great 2017. Let's just leave it at that. And this was the project to end the year on, really, because even I need to remind myself of where I've come. I've felt like 2017, I didn't really grow professionally very much. And yeah, you know, sometimes you just need a reminder like, yeah, stop comparing yourself to other people and compare where you are with where you were. And I read this thing on Tumblr, and it said something like, do you remember when you wish you had the problems you had now? And I'm like, yeah, I do. When I was in high school, when I was drawing this sketch back in 96, I was in high school, I wish that like my one problem was my career. Like that everything else in my life was peaceful and that I could just focus on my career. And that's kind of where my life is right now. You know, I have a great marriage. I have great friends. I love my home. I love the corner of the world I live in. You know, I love how much I get to travel. I love a lot of aspects of my life. And I get to focus on my career. And that's a blessing. That's a huge blessing. And so, who knew a simple Tumblr post could get me so emotional? But yeah, so I just had so much fun doing this, and I really encourage y'all to do your own version. You know, pull out a super old sketch, you know, preferably one from the very beginning when you were first starting out and, you know, didn't know much of anything. Like, for example, back in 96, I was in high school and I had at that point taken a few general art classes, but I had not taken any figure drawing or fashion related instruction at all. 96 was before my first internship. And I look at this second sketch and part of me is, you know, part of me knows that it could be better because during the course of my career, there are huge chunks of time, years, where I didn't sketch people at all. I was just, if I was drawing anything, it was just flats and fashion graphics. And so I feel like if it weren't for those periods of time, I'd be a better illustrator. But then again, during those periods of time, I was designing like crazy. So obviously I'm a better designer than I ever was. So yeah, there's that. And so what I also love about this exercise is now I'm looking at the sketch and I know exactly how I would construct that. And I know exactly the parts where it would be really difficult. Like back when I drew the first one, I didn't know. I just drew style lines that I thought were pretty and I, did this ombre because I thought that looked pretty. But I look at the sketch now, and with all the experience that I've gleaned over the years, I know exactly how to make that. I know approximately how much it will cost, and that hurts. And I know the basic product development process it would require. And so it was a good reminder for me for how far I've come. And, you know, it's nice to end on a nice note. Nice to end the year on a nice note, a hopeful note. I love this blue, but honestly, I forgot that this particular blue has such a high granulation factor. And granulation is when the watercolor or gouache naturally develops that texture when it hits paper and starts to dry. And, you know, some watercolors love it, some don't. I pick and choose when I love it, when I don't. I don't love it for this particular sketch, but I'm rolling with it. It works. It's fine. I, more than anything, actually really like how the skin turned out. I was having a good blending day. Seriously, though, this was such a wonderful exercise, so much fun, and it just put me in such a good mood. I encourage you all to participate, and if you like, I would really love it if you shared your before and after photos with me, tag me on Instagram, or better yet, share them in our Facebook group, our little Make Fashion Friends and Network Facebook group. The link to the Facebook group is in the description box. We have a strict don't be a dick rule in our Facebook group, so feel free to post up there and just be like, hey, wanted to share. It's a real positive vibe in there, so come join us. And yeah, as usual, hashtag always be practicing, hashtag practice not magic. Literally, look at that, so much practice. 21 years of practice. And hashtag if your first one sucks, you're right on track. And literally, I mean, look at that. Come on. Anyway, please share, subscribe, drop me all your questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.